Hey guys, it's Shozzy here, and welcome to episode 69 of the Berlin Dynamo series. As you can see, probably a few things have changed since the last episode. It's probably been about maybe a week and a half since I've played, obviously before kicking off our second season here in the Bundesliga. Just wanted to have a break. I was pretty much playing Football Manager every day without fail, making these episodes. Took a little time off, played a couple other games, got a bit of enjoyment out of those, and then had that desire to once again come back and play and hopefully finish this series with Berlin Dynamo. So today's episode, of course, we will have the DFL SUPERCUP against Bayern Munich, and then we'll have the DFB Pokal first round against Nuremberg as well. However, we've got a lot of stuff to get through, a lot of transfers. We've got a lot of new players. Of course, we had a big wage budget, a relatively big wage budget, but we also had a lot of transfer budget for the beginning of this season. So let's go over that first of all. We do have a lot of transfers to get through. A few other players as well that are potentially coming into the team. Haven't exactly spent everything yet, and I want to go over a few other things as well. Anyway, transfers out. Diego Aguilar left to Werder Bremen for 80,000. Very cheap. Got him out of the team. Happy to see the end of him. He was a terrible, terrible goalkeeper for us. But he's gone. Werder Bremen, not 100% sure on their sort of transfer policy, signing a player of his quality. Anyway, we got Pettifer. He left for Hull City on a free. And then Marco Mira leaving for Regensburg on a free transfer as well. I sold Fanani to SN. He was one of those youth players I signed up from Bayern last season once his youth contract ran out with them. So sold him to SN for 100,000. I think they're in the second tier. Yeah, they're in 2 Bundesliga now, SN. So investing in a bit of youth, I guess. Werder Bremen signed another one of our players, João Veloso dos Santos. Pretty sad to see the back of him. But he goes to Werder Bremen as a 26-year-old. Now, he's in the second tier. It's probably where he's maybe best suited. And I looked at it from the standpoint that I need my defensive midfielders to be more solid defensively, if that makes sense. You know, the 12 tackling, 11 marking, it's not exactly suited 100% to the role of an actual defensive midfielder on support. He's got the great passing and the first touch, much more suited as a deep line playmaker, as you can see there. So just didn't really work. He's a great player. He's played, numerous seasons at our club, coming in on loan all the way back there in 2029, 30. And I think that was actually his best season at the club as well. So there you go. And I believe we weren't actually playing with defensive midfielders at that time. So, we did retrain him for that position, but I don't think he was exactly suited for it. Anyway, up next, we sold Zivkovic to our rivals, Hertha Berlin. 275,000 there. We also loaned David Molina, the centre-back, out to them as well. Game time, essentially. Of course, Hertha, they're also in the Bundesliga with us. I think it's a good little bit of experience for him. And I don't think with the signings that we've made, he was going to get much game time. Nor do I really think he's good enough for a Champions League Bundesliga team, if that makes sense. Hertha's probably more of his level. This guy, Luis Arauz, he was loaned out again. We brought him in last season, I believe, on a free transfer there, as you can see. He's a good player, the 19-year-old Bolivian, and he's gone back on loan to Bolivar in Bolivia. So we'll monitor his progress. But again, I signed 2 defensive midfielders that I honestly believe are extremely good. So we loaned him out as well for game time. And then Josh Davidson was let go to Hull City on a free transfer. He was essentially sticking around at the club on sort of like a week-to-week basis once his contract ran out. And then Hull came in with an offer, and obviously he's left to go and play in the championship, I believe. Yep, in the championship. There we go. Anyway, the moment you've all been waiting for. As you can see, we did sign quite a few free transfers, and this actually added a good amount of quality for nothing, essentially. I think a few of the players had signing on bonuses, which again, sort of kind of equates to like a bit of a transfer budget, because I believe it does actually come out of your transfer budget, the signing on bonus. The first player we brought in was Ramati. Really solid centre back here. He's a left back naturally, but honestly, I feel like his natural calling is at centre half. He's good, 26 years old. I mean, he's a 3-star player, but I sign him more as like a backup option. And I think he's a little bit more solid, both physically and mentally, when you compare him to someone like David Molina, who realistically is 3 years younger. So he's got a little bit more time to develop. We get Ramati on a free from Iranian club Tractor, and obviously we can potentially sell him on for a profit as well. So good little bit of business there. Padaruth was another player brought in, another centre half, this guy, although he can play right back or defensive midfield as well. Just a squad player. Brought in 20-year-old Englishman, again, bit of potential on him, thinking of sell-on fees in the future and transfer fees potentially back to the Premier League. So good little bit of business there as well. He'll get a little bit of game time, I would assume. The next player was brought in again from the Premier League, this time from Aston Villa. And that is I would say a bona fide sort of rotation option in that left wing inside forward position. And that is Alexander Dukic, the 25-year-old German. Lots of caps there for the under-21s. Relatively cheap sort of wages per week. He's on a fringe contract as well. But he's got really good technicals, somewhat good mentals, really good flair, good teamwork. Only thing that lets him down is his physicals. So very, very, very similar to Bednarek. He's got a little bit of potential, half a star left, but he is 25 years old. He's also German, so it kind of works out pretty well. Anyway, a good player and a free transfer from Aston Villa. The next player, the final sort of free transfer, was Dmitriev, the left back, but we're going to be retraining him to play and hopefully become a natural as a defensive midfielder. And Dmitriev, he's good. He's very good. You look at his technical attributes there for a supportive defensive midfielder, and he looks solid. He looks like probably the best defensive midfielder we've actually had at the club. And again, he is versatile, so he can actually play as a wingback, albeit doesn't really have the crossing, but a very good player. Good reputation on him as well. He's only 23, 40 caps for the Ukrainian national team. And again, a free transfer. Really good bit of business there. The next player we brought in, I'm very, very happy with this player. Very cheap transfer, 1.1 million. And that is Garvidel. Absolute beast of an 18-year-old striker. This guy, if he develops and we can actually improve our training facilities and get them up a little bit higher, he potentially could turn out world class. He's got the physicals, absolute bundles of pace. He's 185 centimeters, so he's about 6 foot, nearly 6'1". So he's looking strong. Valued at 53 to 67 million already. He's got 11 caps, 3 goals for the Iranian national team, and you can bet your backside he will be our starting striker this season. One of the two, of course. Gavidel, absolutely love him. 1.1 million from the Zob Ahan Isfahan Iranian Pro Division Pro League club. Cheap as chips. Absolutely love it. The next player we signed was Dusak from Zagreb. Another defensive midfielder. Again, looks really good. 18-year-old Croatian. Bundles of potential. This guy was on my shortlist for a little while when I was doing my scouting through Croatia, Serbia, Romania, doing all those types of ones. Trying to find these more affordable players. And he popped up and I was like, have to sign him. 2.5-star current ability, 5-star potential. Good physicals. especially for a defensive midfielder, having that pace, that jumping reach, and that natural fitness. Lacking a little bit in the passing department, but I wanted defensive stability, especially going into the Champions League for this season. We're going to be versing some very, very big clubs, especially if we get into the knockout rounds. He's got the work rate. He's got the determination. He looks very good. And he's a big boy as well. 6'2", nearly 6'3", I would say, based on my sort of in-head conversions of centimeters to feet and inches. So there we go. Again, squad player as well. 8 caps there, 2 goals for the Croatian national team as well. And I like the look of him. Very expensive transfer, 9 million we paid for him. So, that was, I think, about a third of our budget, pretty much on one player. It was a risk, but I think for a starting defensive midfielder alongside Dimitriev, we're going to be very solid in that department. The next player we signed, Vlad Alexandru Edita Saikan, 19-year-old Romanian. Again, we're going for the younger players. We have to invest in the youth, try and develop them, and go from there pretty much. The 19-year-old Romanian with 2 caps for the Romanian national team. He's a great centre-back. He's already listed as a wonder kid. 19, 3-star current ability. Again, 5-star potential there. Valued between 28 and 40 million. He's also 6'1", so he's not too not too short. But the main stats you want there: 16 tackling, 15 marking, 15 heading. He's got 14 technique there as well. So not a bad little ball playing defender. Needs a little bit of passing, a little bit of first touch, but he looks damn good, damn good. And 3 million from Craiova. Very solid transfer, very cheap. The final player I brought in was Nando Nagtegal. We'll go with Nagtegal. A 24-year-old Dutch right wing back. I like the look of him. I think he's a good player. 4-star current ability, continental reputation for him as well. He's more of a senior player, which I think we need a few more of them. Dusak as well was a good transfer in that regard. And yeah, he comes in, starting right back, should be very, very good. And I'm looking forward to him getting settled into the squad. Albeit, even if we do find a better right back option in the future, I think he's good enough to be a backup and stay at the club, to be fair. He's got really good physicals, average pretty much everywhere else, but that's okay, as long as he can perform. And he was signed from PSV Eindhoven for 5 million, so not a massive outlay for him either. So there we go, transfers done. Let's go to recent fixtures. We versed Magdeburg, beat them 3-1, lost 3-2 to Gladbach, also lost 3-2 to Freiburg, drew 2-2 with Dortmund, smashed Musselwitz 13-0, and we beat Bohemians Prague 2-1, and that leaves us today against Bayern Munich in this first game. As you can see, the balance is looking pretty healthy there as well. We got 42 mil in the current balance. And we've also got 6 million left. So, yeah. One thing I do want to talk about before we sort of go ahead and get into today's lineup is the fact that I found some absolute world-class players in Brazil playing for Brazilian clubs. However, our reputation is not good enough to attract them to come to our club yet. I think we've lost out on one of them already. I think it was actually an Argentinian who left, I think, for the Premier League, maybe. So we're starting to lose those players. I think there's a 27-year-old that is world-class. It doesn't say he's world-class. It says he's an elite player. But when you look at him, I won't go over them because I don't want to sort of spoil maybe potential transfers we might get in the future. But just know that I did try and sign some absolute world-class players for between sort of like 12 and maybe 15 million. They have release clauses for. And I put, I think, 2 or 3 of them in and just wasn't able to get them. So yeah, they rejected the transfers, didn't want to sort of talk contracts with us, and that sort of leaves us where we are now. So yeah. Anyway, let's get into the game here, the DFL SUPERCUP. And yeah, this is going to be our starting lineup. So Melges in goals, obviously. Nagtagal is going to be right back. Adita Saikan is the starting centre back alongside Puljic, who does remain. We got Montero here at left back. Hopefully he'll do a good job and hopefully develop a little bit this season as well. In front of him, or sort of in that defensive midfield left side, is Dmitriev, Dusak on the right. I meant Dukic, not Dusak, if I said that before. Anyway, Bednarek's going to be starting. Like I said, Dukic could challenge him. Sort of very similar players, albeit Dukic is a bit more goal-scoring minded, I feel like, whereas Bednarek's more of a beater player, maybe try and assist type player. Havicic remains as well on the right-hand side, and we're going to stick with Gel and the new bloke, the new Iranian wonder kid, Garvidel up top. The bench today, we've got Ramadi, Legs still around, we've got Abba there, Reguagui, Dukic, Jakobsen, Prevel, and Langfeld, the Norwegian striker, in there as well. So I feel like we've got a really, really good squad at the moment. I like our depth as well. We've got some good players around. Some good players, some not so good players. I've also, as you can see, set up a deal for Dae Young to go back to South Korea. It's not much. It's about, I think it was 25,000, something like that, all up. So a little bit sad not to actually make some money on him when I realistically thought we might be able to. But let's get into this game. Hopefully we can have a really good performance here against Bayern Munich. And hopefully bring back another trophy for ourselves. Alrighty. Again, no pressure on the boys. I feel like they always sort of perform when I say that there's no pressure. And of course, Bayern winning the league last season, I think that means they're the home team. I guess they favour the league more than the cup. And that's going to be a penalty. Dmitriev, not a great start to his Berlin Dynamo career. Giving away a penalty in the 9th minute. Alrighty. Montero's on a yellow card. Dmitriev's now on a yellow card for that penalty as well. Can Melges save your ass? He almost gets there, but Schelderup puts it in the back of the net. And it's 1-0 to Bayern. Not a good start. Not a good start. Albeit, I think we've got quite a few new players in the team. We've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of our starting 11 are all new players. Pretty rough. We don't look like we're playing too well today, though. Garvidel almost wins a ball back there. I really want to see his pace. Not only his pace, but his ability as well. It's coming up, you know. I mean, realistically, give him a season or two, and I feel like he potentially could be leading goal scorer of the Bundesliga. Bayern have just put the ball in the back of the net, but I think it might be offside. Please be offside, because if we go 2-0 down, it is disallowed. There we go. All right. I'm just going to pause it here for a second, because I want to ease both Dmitriev and Montero. I want to ease them both off tackles. Don't really need a red card for this game. It is our first competitive game of the season. Of course, we've got the Champions League to look forward to as well. Very excited about that. Of course, it's going to be the new format as well. I thought that might have been a red card. Arnold puts it in the back of the net again. Same player that just put it in the back. Might be offside again, though. That one looked a little bit closer. And it is awarded. He's onside. Okay, we're 2-0 down going into halftime, and we've given the ball away off the kickoff. Making me very nervous now. And we've conceded again. Okay, we're 3-0 down. Of course, we are using an attacking tactic. and the team isn't very well bonded or gelled together. And it's Bayern Munich. So I'm not gonna freak out too much. The fact that we haven't had a shot though is very concerning. All right. Yeah, that's not a good first half. Not a good first half whatsoever. We're going to have to make a few changes here. Pavicic is going to have to come off. And I don't really know what else to do. All right. I'm going to go Gel off for Jakobsen. And then I'm going to go Pavicic for Dukic, and then we're going to swap him and Bednarek around. We'll do 2 now. It's pretty early. We're only in the 53rd minute, but something needs to change. We need to have some sort of attacking flair. And maybe Dukic could be that player. Of course, Jakobsen, he's got a lot of pace as well. So, bit of a different type of player to Gel. And I'm wondering if those two can team up. Jakobsen with a good opportunity there. He's got to get that on target. All right, Dukic. Our first sort of time seeing him on the pitch as well. Dusak to Bednarek. Nagtagal. Can he get across? He can, and that should be a goal. That's ridiculous. How has that not gone in? It looked like it was about to be an own goal. Ugh, so frustrating. Haven't had a shot on target. The fact that has happened at the moment, and we're in the 70th minute, not a very positive sign for the season to come. Although Dimitriev's done really well to win the ball there. Gavidel, and that's a terrible shot. He's on a 6.1. He's not looking good today. Or at least in this first game of today's episode. And Bayern are once again coming forward. Their corner does reach ahead, but they do head it wide. And honestly, nervy signs. I mean, we've performed better in this second half, but giving the ball away yet again. Jakobsen hits the crossbar. Goalkeeper didn't even move for that one. And it's going to finish 3-0. Their goalkeeper's on a 7.5 apparently. So there we go. And Bayern Munich win the DFL SUPERCUP. So we'll take this one in as well. We'll take this one in. It's always frustrating to see your opponents win a cup over you. It happened to us previously, of course, with the DFB Pokal. And then the next season we won it. So let this be a lesson to the boys, hopefully. And hopefully next season we will... I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to confuse the hell out of him. I don't know what I've just done there. I've messed about. Anyway. That was a terrible start. Giving away the penalty in the 8th minute. It's not going to be very good. Is Klopp the manager? He's the manager of Bayern Munich. Very interesting. As you can see, lots of debuts in that match as well, like I said. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take a lot of time. I am hoping that we can actually get a win here. We are the highest seeded team over Nuremberg as well. But what I'll do for that one is skip forward and join you guys for the lineup. Alrighty, so let's get the lineup here for Nuremberg. Made a couple of changes. So Nagtagal, he picked up a knock for I think 1 or 2 days during training. As a result, Jason Legg's going to come in as the right back. I've moved Bednarek over to the right-hand side, and then I've placed Dukic into the starting lineup. Pavicic was pretty bad, 6.1 in that first half of last game. I know Gavardel also got a 6.1 from that game, but I'm going to give him another opportunity here today, sort of against, well, it's definitely against a lesser opponent in Nuremberg, because they are a 2 Bundesliga club. But we'll go from there. We'll see how we go with this lineup anyway. Going to stick with Dusak and Dmitriev. I definitely think that once they sort of a bit more cohesive together, along with the rest of the squad, I think we'll be in a lot better of a position as far as their quality shining through, and them sort of starting to dominate midfields and be as defensively sort of solid as they can be. Anyway, the rest of the team's exactly the same. I'm just hoping for a good performance here. I want to see the complete opposite to what we just saw against Bayern Munich. And we are actually doing just that. I know we picked up a couple of yellow cards nice and early for both of our defensive midfielders, but we're actually dominating at the moment. So it's very good to see. And we do have a highlight, albeit it is for Nuremberg. Hopefully we can actually win the ball. And we do indeed win it. Dukic, the inside forward, getting back and actually doing some defensive duties. Pulic, Montero, up to Dukic. Into midfield for Dusak, who's given the ball away in the absolute worst position. And luckily Melges comes up with a save. That was terrible. That was really bad. Anyway, we're dominating possession. We've had 5 shots, only 1 on target, which again, frustrating me a little bit. But hopefully we can actually get out there and hopefully get a goal. I want to get a goal at least this episode. Got a highlight pretty much at the end of the first half here as well. So Dusak giving the ball away. His passing isn't the greatest. It's something I've got to keep a bit of a closer eye on. He's only got 9 passing. That's quite bad in my opinion for the Bundesliga, but he does have that 5-star potential. So he's got room to grow. Anyway, Montero into Dusak. Bednarek with a touch. And he should have scored there. That's a deflected shot. Bad finishing, bad composure there for Bednarek. Dukic with the corner. Cleared away. Gel's going to get it. And Gel with a nice shot. Good save by their goalkeeper as well. Dukic again with the corner. Pulic trying to come backwards, with a header there. Wasn't really gonna challenge anyone, challenge the goalkeeper. And we'll just get out there and start the second half. It's worth mentioning that Bayern's goalkeeper was their second or third choice goalkeeper. I think second. And he's pretty bad. And he got an 8-match rating and was man of the match in that last game. So I just thought I'd throw that out there as well. Anyway, we're going to make a couple of subs here. Again, we've got some stinking performances out there. This time Leg, who isn't a starting right back. So we're going to go Nagtagal back out there. Gavardel was on a 6.9, so at least that's a bit more of a positive. I'm going to go Pavicic for Bednarek. And then surprisingly, Dusak's actually, raised his rating up to a 6.8, and Dmitriev's on a 6.4. So we're going to change that as well. Reguagui's going to come on, and I'll get him to tackle harder, at least until he picks up a yellow card. And I guess for now, we'll leave the strikers up top because, we've had 5 shots on target. So we're getting them on goal. Their goalkeeper, for some reason, is once again the best performer on the opposing team. Pretty frustrating, but anyway. One thing I don't want this to go to is penalties prior to the start of the season. I think that'd be a very, very detrimental effect to our first Bundesliga game. Anyway, Gavardel to Dukic. Pavicic. He played terribly last game, but he's got the opening goal for this one in, I think, the 78th minute. Yeah. That's a bit of a worry. Adidas Saikan and Brilliance both getting yellow cards for themselves as well. And now Nuremberg had a corner. And we once again have a highlight, although we do lose the ball. Looks like Pulic will win it back for us. Pulic into Dusak, who goes up to the strikers, but we're not able to actually get the ball back. And Nuremberg coming forward. They're in behind. We do have a lot of players back, though. Oh, that's a weak shot. That is a weak shot. That's frustrating. And Nuremberg bring it back to 1-1. I mean, pretty much our entire back line is on a yellow card at the moment. Nagtagal picking up a yellow as well. Dukic with a free kick. Oh, and that's a beautiful free kick. Oh, top bins off the bottom side of the crossbar as well. And Dukic getting his first goal for the club. He's a good signing. Free transfer from Aston Villa. German as well. And we're just going to sneak this one by the looks of it. 2-1 victory over Nuremberg. I wouldn't say it's clinical. It's a very lucky performance. I want to say it's an excellent win just to hopefully get the boys up to scratch. Bayern Munich absolutely smashing Paderborn there as well, 5-1. And there we go. We win in the first round of the DFB Pokal. Dukic, man of the match. Happy to see that. So we'll give him a praise. 8.7 match rating as well for him. Pretty solid for his second ever game. And yeah, that leaves us with the start of the Bundesliga campaign. We've only got 3 days, and then we kick things off with a Berlin derby as well. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, that'll be it for this episode, guys. If you can drop a like, it'd be much appreciated. Help the series. Hopefully find a few more people and boost it up in the algorithm. And apart from that, subscribe to the channel. Take it easy, and goodbye.